The NFL has been flirting with the idea of international expansion for years. London has been hosting games since 2007, and the UK fan base continues to grow. But would this be a logistical nightmare should the NFL start a franchise over here in the UK? Or could it be an absolute game changer? In this video, we're going to discuss just that. Okay, so according to NFL data, they're claiming that there's up to 15 million UK fans of the NFL. Now that's a big percentage of the population, so I'm not sure there are 50 million NFL fans in the UK. But according to their data, they're also suggesting that 4 million of those are avid fans. Now I'm definitely in that bracket. I will stay up till 4 a.m. watching games because I'm absolutely crazy. But there's definitely fans here, and you can see that with the sellouts at Wembley. Clearly people want to watch the sport over here, so there's definitely demand, and I can see why having a London franchise, for example, could be really good for us fans over here. But one of the biggest challenges to that is the people that are going to potentially get season tickets will actually be fans of the team that's playing their home games from there. So they're going to be supporting other established teams from America who are going to be coming over to play the games. So that could be an issue. You're not going to have a strong home fan base that are going to create an atmosphere for the home team and give them an advantage. So that would be one pushback straight away on the franchise idea. Another issue will be time zone differences. Obviously, when American football's on in America, you're looking at mid-afternoon. So when we're watching it in the UK, it's in the evening, 6, 9 p.m. However, if we're playing games mid-afternoon here, that's going to be really early morning for some states in America. So you're just not going to get the same viewership over there. It's not going to be as sought after in their country. And so players aren't going to want to play for the UK franchise if they're not being watched by American fans. They're not building their brand in a much bigger market in the US. So I do think that could be an issue, the time zones. Whereas when we're watching American football over here, we can get away with it because we're going to sit down in the evenings and watch it. The other problem with distance and time zones is because we're so far away from each other, the UK and the US, until we get faster plane journeys, a lot of players are going to struggle with, flying over, jet lag. And so there will be a clear advantage to the home team if they're playing a lot of home games in London and then eventually flying to America to play a stint of games over there. So that could be an issue for the divisions. You could get a lot of complaints from other teams because they're thinking, well, that London franchise is going to win way more home games because all the teams that are travelling there are going to be jet lagged and struggling in some way. Now, with sports science and technology, things are going to get faster, things are going to get better. There's going to be ways around those kind of issues. So I don't think that'll be a problem forever. But right now, it is. I think another issue, and by the way, there are pros to this, but I'm just going to rhyme off a few issues for now. I think another issue is going to be player resistance. Now, I did mention that before. I mentioned how they're not going to want to play for the UK team if they're not building their brand in America in a bigger market. It's not just that they're going to have to leave their friends and family. I know when you get drafted in the NFL, you're going to have to move state potentially anyway. So that's not a guarantee that you're going to be near friends and family. But being all the way over in the UK with the time differences again, it's just a real conflict of, friends, family, marketing opportunities over in the US. So I think you will get players and coaches that will resist the move. So they're going to have less chance to build a strong team in the UK. Now, saying that, with the International Pathway Programme, we're getting players that aren't from American football backgrounds, playing in America, they're from Europe. They may want to play for the UK franchise because they're already over here. So it'd be a great opportunity for them to get on the ladder and obviously being close to their friends and family, their roots. So it could be good for that side of things. We could create some real talented players from Europe playing for the UK team. Now, at the minute, it is looking like the Jacksonville Jaguars are potentially going to be the team that migrates to the UK. I don't know. They're obviously playing one home game from London every single year at the minute. So they are the official home team of the UK, but they still haven't built a strong fan base over here. I went to a Jaguars game and there was more people cheering for the Houston Texans than there were the Jaguars. So it's quite awkward, actually. I felt like there was no atmosphere at all for the Jags. They had no real advantage at that moment in time. But then they weren't established over here. Maybe it's changed now. I'm not sure. The other thing is, with the UK games not being the best atmosphere, there is real potential that another nation could house the franchise, whether it be Germany. For example, Germany have hosted a couple of games now, I think. And the one that I watched, the atmosphere was just electric. It was superb. Fans were going wild, singing, and that'd be a much better spectacle to put on the telly than some of these UK games. I don't think it's as a bigger market, and there's obviously language barriers for the players and whatnot, so it might not be the best option right now, but it's certainly one to watch in the future. All in all, I do think the NFL teams are on board with it. They are obviously taking their teams over to the UK to play. They're not resisting it in that sense. So, yeah, I think this is good. I think the NFL are really all about innovation, development, growth, obviously, for their market, their income, and advertisers will absolutely love it if they're able to build a franchise over here in the UK. And being a British citizen, I would love to watch NFL every single week and have a season ticket, whether it be London or anywhere else, even Manchester perhaps, who knows. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the years. But let me know what you think. Do you think there should be an international franchise, or is this just a logistical nightmare? Let me know in the comments below.